There is a Christian addiction recovery program in Eustis, Florida. Eustis is as rural as it sounds.
Hmm.
Historically, it's been orange groves and cattle farms. David Douglas is their founder and executive director, and they're about an 11 or 12-year-old ministry. And David himself is a retired mailman. And then God called him to serve men and women in faith based addiction recovery. So we were in the process of putting together his awareness event. The invitations, of course, need those host committee names. He went to the sheriff. Obviously, the executive director of an addiction recovery program knows the sheriff pretty well, because when the jail needs to find a place for that person to go when they leave, they start calling around the different centers as a place for them to transition if they don't have a home to go to. And let's be honest, many addicts have burned the bridges with their family and friends. And so we went to the sheriff. I said, let's just lean on the relationships we do have. And we asked the sheriff, who should we be talking to? Who should we be inviting to be on the host committee? And he said, well, there's this farmer. His name is Buddy. And he also owned a construction business. And I heard he just sold the construction business for about $40 million. I think you should go talk to him. We asked for a warm introduction. We got a meeting with Buddy and his wife Connie out at their farm. So David and I drove about 40 miles out of town, out into the sticks, to this gorgeous, gorgeous farm. And we went and sat at their kitchen table. And our ask was for Buddy to lend his name to the host committee. We also tested the case for support. And then we did that story listening. And Buddy shared with us, which of course the sheriff knew, but he couldn't really tell us the whole story. But Buddy did, that he had been in recovery for 20 years, how much his life had been blessed since he had gone through recovery and found, rediscovered Christ in his recovery. He shared some very vulnerable stories. And he said, there was a time not that long ago, just a few years back, where I was really tempted to go back to drinking and drugs. A pastor friend intervened and he said, the Lord really put on my heart, you're no longer going to build houses, you're going to build men. And he said, and then I sold my business for not 40 million, $400 million. And he said, I would like to give the 1.5 million you need for the new recovery center. People know people.
Hmm.
And the sheriff knew. The sheriff isn't someone who can give a big gift, but the sheriff knew who to connect us with. And he had a long time relationship with Buddy. All we had to do is just better understand Buddy's need to give. God told Buddy, you're no longer going to build houses, you're going to build men. And hand in hand, recovery is just the vessel by which Buddy is able to accomplish his goals and his need to give to others and pay it forward. So it's not about our need to get, it was about his need to give. And that's why I want organizations to do a little bit of storytelling when you're one on one with a donor about your programs and your mission. But my goodness, I've seen so many go on and on and on and on about all the great work they're doing. And guess what? Then it's all about you. And you never have the time or take the time to learn about the donor.